Myself Dr. Padmaja, Associate Professor, Department of CAC, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. Let us discuss today a number of problems on tuples. So, before going for problem solving questions on tuples, let us start with the tuple data type. What is a tuple? How to create a tuple? And what are the methods in the tuple? So, first of all, tuple is a collection of Python objects separated by commas, and the elements of the tuple are enclosed within parentheses. So, a tuple is similar to a list in terms of indexing, nested objects, repetition, but the difference is tuples are immutable, whereas list is mutable. List is mutable. That means once you have created a tuple, you cannot change any object or you cannot change a tuple object, whereas you can change the list object, or the elements of the tuples are not changeable or modifiable, whereas in a list it is modifiable. Now, first of all, see how to create an empty tuple. So, to create an empty tuple, we can simply use the parenthesis, open brace and close brace to create an empty tuple. So, if you will just print it, then you will see that it is a empty tuple. Now, if you want to create non-empty tuples, then there are two ways. One is called tuple1. Tuple is equal to Python comma programming. These are the list of elements you have written. Okay, comma separated elements you have to write, and if you will print it, then it will treat it as a tuple. Similarly, normally you know that a tuple can be enclosed within parentheses. The elements of the tuple can be enclosed within parentheses. So, this is the normal way of doing, where within the parentheses you can write down this is the first element, this is the second element, and so on, and this will treat it as a tuple. So, there are two ways of tuple creation. So, this is called the list of elements, list of comma separated elements is treated to be a tuple. Otherwise, within the parenthesis, you can write down a list of elements and you can create a tuple. So, let us start with what is a tuple data type. Now, a tuple is a collection of Python objects separated by commas. Now, a tuple is similar to a list, but the differences are that tuple uses normal parenthesis, whereas list uses square bracket. And the similarities are tuple and list both use similar kind of indexing mechanism, nested object concepts, and repetition mechanism. But the difference is tuples are immutable, whereas list is mutable. Now, let us first understand how to create an empty tuple. So, create an empty tuple. So, first of all, you have to write down a tuple name is equal to open the brace and close it. So, this way it will create an empty tuple here. Second thing is, if you write down a list of comma separated values, then it is treated to be a tuple in Python. So, you can see over here, tuple is equal to Python comma programming, or a list of values, comma separated values you give, and if you will print it, then it will be treated as a tuple. But otherwise, same thing, another way of doing is within the parenthesis, as the bracket for tuple is the normal parenthesis, inside this parenthesis you can write down a list of elements, and then also if you will print it, you will see that it is a tuple. Now, how to do concatenation of tuples. Now, in this example, let us see there are two tuples available, tuple 1 and tuple 2. Tuple 1 is nothing but a list of integers 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. Tuple 2 is a collection of strings. So, Python and programming, these are the two strings available in the tuple. So, how to concatenate these two? So, you can write down print tuple 1 plus tuple 2. So, the elements of the first tuple are combined with or concatenated with the elements of the second tuple. So, this is called the concatenation procedure, and for doing the concatenation, we are using the operator plus over here. Now, the third concept is how to do nesting of two tuples. So, for doing nesting of two tuples, so you can see here this example, first tuple 1 is a set of numbers, tuple 2 is a set of strings, and tuple 3 is equal to tuple 1 comma tuple 2. So by putting into the parenthesis the tuple 1 elements and the tuple 2 elements, so you can see that this is separated by a comma simply. So it will just take the first one as the first tuple, comma, second one, and this whole thing itself is a tuple. So this is called nesting of two tuples together. So you can simply write first tuple, comma, second tuple, comma, third tuple, and so on. You just put it inside the tuple bracket or parenthesis. Then it is called a nesting of multiple tuples. Now, next concept is how to do repetition of elements in tuples. Suppose there is a tuple which contains a string called Python, and I want to repeat this for 3 times. So what I have to do? Simply I have to use the repetition operator over here. So this is called repetition operator. So this repetition operator will repeat the tuple element 3 times. So you can see here the output. When you print the tuple 3, you will find that the string Python which is inside the tuple is repeated thrice. So this is called repetition. So for doing concatenation, we are using plus operator, whereas for doing repetition, we are using multiplication operator. So plus and multiplications are also known as concatenation and repetition operators in tuples. Next, the definition of tuple says that tuples are immutable. How to check the immutable property of tuples? So let us understand the code. So here there is a tuple T1. A tuple 1 contains a set of integer elements. Now I want to change through the indexing mechanism. This is more called index number 0 or 0th index element. I want to change with a value 4. Okay. Now at 0th index the element is 0 is available. I want to replace it with 4. So if I am trying to print it, then I am getting error that the tuple doesn't support the item assignment. That means once the tuple is created, the elements of the tuple cannot be changed or modifiable. So this is called the immutable property of the tuple. Now, next concept is how to apply slicing in tuples. So the concept of slicing is similar to a list, and for doing the slicing, we will use the syntax, that is your start, colon, stop, colon, your step. So this is the slicing operator. So the same way we can use over here. So your start is inclusive, whereas stop is exclusive. And step is with a step of, by default this step is 1. So if you want to change the step also, you can write. Okay. Now let us take here a tuple which contains the 4 elements 0, 1, 2 and 3. Now tuple of 1 colon. 1 colon means this is 1 is nothing but the start value. If stop is not mentioned or step is not mentioned, the default value, default is it will go up to the end of the tuple. So from first index up to the end. So you can see over here the output is 1, 2 and 3. Next is colon, colon, minus 1. That means start and stop are not given, but only step is given as minus 1. That means you know that in a tuple also, the indexing mechanism is same as list. So if you will go from left to right, then the indexing is your 0, this is 1, this is 2 and this is 3. But here if you will go from right to left, then the indexing is minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and minus 4. So it is step of minus 1 means you are telling that you should print the elements from right to left. Okay. Start and stop are not given. So by default it will take all elements up to start. So you can see that the output is 3, 2, 1 and 0. Next is called print the tuples from second index to fourth index. That means this is the start value. Start value is 2, but stop value is always your exclusive. That means 4 minus 1. Okay. 4 minus 1 means 3. So you can see over here that start value is 2, stop value is 3. So what are the elements are there? You can see here 2 and 3 is the output. So the slicing mechanism in tuples is same as list. Now next concept is how to delete a tuple. So to delete a tuple, the del keyword is available. So suppose there is a tuple 3 is equal to 0, 1 and you are simply writing del tuple 3. So delete keyword will simply delete the tuple from your system. So if you are trying to print it again, print tuple 3, that means the tuple 3 object is not defined. So you will get error. What type of error you are getting? This type of error is called name error because the name tuple 3 doesn't exist anymore. And this name error is, there are several types of errors that are given in Python. Name error, index error, key error, there are attribute error and so on. So here it indicates that the object name tuple 3 doesn't exist. That's why it is name error and it is not defined. You are getting the error. So be careful while using the del keyword, that whether you are going to delete the entire tuple or whether you want to delete a part of it. So both ways it is allowed. Next concept is how to find the length of the tuple. So to find the length of the tuple, there is a built-in method called length. So you can simply apply that. For example, there is a tuple 2 containing 2 elements, 2 strings. One is Python, one is programming. Now find out length of tuple 2. len, here len is a built-in function. Built-in function or built-in method. So this method is going to find out the length of the tuple. Now next, how to convert a list into a tuple. So for converting a list and a string into a tuple, let us see the process. For example, there is a list. Can you observe that list is written in square brackets? So a list contains these elements 0, 1 and 2. And there is a method called tuple method is available, which will convert a list into tuple. So we have used over here print tuple of list 1. So this method is going to convert the list into tuple. So you can see the output that 0, 1, 2. Now the brackets have been changed to your tuple brackets. It is no more a list. It is now a tuple. Similarly, if you are giving a string, this is a string. So string to tuple conversion we are doing. So Python is a string you are giving to the tuple method. So you can see here the elements of the string are separated by commas. So Python and it is enclosed within your parentheses. So this way a list and a string can be converted into a tuple. Now next example is how to write the tuples in a loop. Okay. So for example, there is a tuple containing one element that is a string. Okay. Now suppose I want to run my loop 5 times and I want to display the content of the tuple. Okay. So sleek is a string. Okay. Now n is equal to 5. I want to run my loop for 5 times. So write down the loop for I in range of n. So 5 times the loop is going to repeat it and you just print in the form of a tuple. Okay. Can you see over here that it is one time bracket, then second time whenever it is going again, one more bracket is added because the tuple you have written inside a tuple. So this is called the nested tuple concept. So you can see that 5 times the brackets are simply increased. Okay. This is called creating a tuple in a loop. Now let us move on to the ideal, that is for writing the Python programs, and let us understand more about tuples. Now let us understand how to use the tuple methods. So first of all, what are the important tuple methods available? So there are 2 important tuple methods available. One is called the count method and one is called the index method. So these 2 tuple methods, how to use it. So first of all, create a tuple. My tuple is equal to, let us take some elements A, P, P, L, E. Okay. So we have taken one tuple. Then print it. Print my tuple dot count, that how many times P is present, we want to count it. Similarly, we can also write print my tuple dot index. Index of a particular element. Suppose what is the index of L? The element L. So let us save this and run it. So in this program, we have used the count method and index method. So let us run it and see the output. You can see that the output of this is, so count of P is available 2 times, so you got the output as 2, and index of L is 3. That is, if you will count from 0th location, 0, 1, 2 and 3. So index of L is 3. So this is the first program. Let us move on to the next program. Now, how to check membership test in tuple. So for doing the membership test, we have in and not in operator. In and not in operators are used for membership test. So let us write down a tuple first. First create a tuple. My tuple is equal to, let us take the same example. Okay. Let us take 5 elements A, P, P, L, E. So we have created one tuple, and if you want, you can print it my underscore tuple. Now let us check a particular character or element is present in the tuple or not. So write down print, suppose A in my underscore tuple. A is there in the tuple, so the answer will be boolean, yes or no. Similarly, you can write print G in my underscore tuple, that whether this character is there or not. Similarly, you can try print some K not in my underscore tuple. Okay. So you can try like this. So let us save it and test this. So what output we are expecting? That for this tuple. So first of all, we have displayed the tuple. Then A is there in my tuple? Yes. So answer is true. G is there in my tuple? No, it is false. K is not in my tuple? Yes, it is not there. So it is true. So membership operators always returns Boolean value, true and false. So this is called membership test in tuples. Now let us go for the third concept, how to iterate over a loop. So let us go for the concept iterating through a tuple. Okay. Now you can always use a for loop. So to do the iteration or for loops. So let us write for name in. Let us take a tuple over here. So 2 different names. Let us take Rama and Krishna. 2 different names you have taken. Now put a colon for loop. Yes. Then I want to write down print hello followed by the tuple variable name. So this way, what it will do? It will iterate through the tuple, take one element at a time. It will print hello Rama and hello Krishna. Okay. Now let us save it and display the output. Run it. Now you can see here that this is called simple iteration over a tuple. So you can see here the outputs are hello Rama and hello Krishna. So this is called iterating through a tuple. Now the next concept we will go for. Now write a Python program to replace last value of tuples in a list. Okay, what to do? To replace the last value of tuples in a list. Example. Okay, so how to do it? Let us write. Let us create a list first. L is equal to, write down your list of tuples. So the first value is 10, 20 and 40. This is your first tuple, followed by 40, 50 and 70. Second, third one is 70, 80 and 90. So we have created list of tuples. Now, how to replace the last value in the tuple? So for that, we have to write down the logic that this is the last element. So L of -1. -1 is the last element in the index. Okay. Plus, which element you want to replace? Suppose an element 100 you want to replace. So for, let us take an element. For example, this is some T. We will use comprehensive mechanism or comprehension here for T in L. Right. So you are using the comprehension mechanism here for every T in L. That means for every tuple in the list. What you are doing? We are finding out the last element. T colon -1 will give you the last element that we are adding with or concatenating with 100. Okay. So now what will be the output? Let us save it and check the output. Yes. Now you can see that it is replacing the last element with 100. So this is called list comprehension, where using the mechanism of list comprehension, we are replacing the last element with a new element. Okay. Last value of tuples in the list. Now, after this program, let us move on to the next question. Write a program to remove an empty tuple or empty tuples if there are more than one from a list of tuples. Now, suppose your sample data is like this. We have the first empty tuple, then one more empty tuple is there, then followed by this is an empty tuple but containing some space. Then some tuples are there with some elements. Okay, and some tuples are there with some more elements like A, B, C and so on. Or another tuple is there with an element D. So there is some sample data like this. Okay. Now how to write down the code? So again we will use the list comprehension mechanism over here. So let us first create the list. So this is the empty tuples, then followed by this is the third tuple, then followed by A, B, A, B and let us take C, okay, and let us take D. Now, let us write a comprehension mechanism. L1 is equal to, for every t, for t in L, if t, that means if it is not an empty tuple, then you have to store it into the list L1. And let us check print L1. Now save this program as tuple 5 and run it. Yes, now you can see that all empty tuples are gone. So we have done some mistake. Let us rectify it. Yes. So A, B, C and D. Yes. Okay. So the empty tuples have been eliminated. And now the list contains only the valid tuples which are not empty. Okay. Now let us move on to the next program. Now next question is, write a Python program to do sorting a tuple by its float element. How to do sorting using the float element of the tuple. So suppose there are some prices of elements. So it is a list of tuples. So it is item 1, comma, the value is suppose 12.20, comma, the second tuple is item 2 and the value is 15.10, comma, the third one is item 3, comma, some value is there 24.5. So this is the different items and their prices. These are given in list of tuples. Now what we have to do? We have to do sorting. So we will use the method sorted. According to the price, comma, key is equal to, we will use the function lambda. For every x, which is nothing but a float value present in x of 1, because all the prices are available in x of 1. For every x of 1, reverse is equal to true. That means the elements are simply reversed. So it will be arranged in sorted order. So lambda is an anonymous function over here. So for every element which is there at index number 1, which are nothing but the item prices, so we are just indicating that we have to sort it out by making reverse is equal to true. So let us save it and check the output. Print sorted price. Okay, two opening brackets are there. Key is equal to lambda, x float of x of 1, reverse is equal to true. Okay, let us run it and check it once more. Okay, let us close it with one more bracket. Okay. Okay, here the error is float takes no keyword arguments. Okay, let us move on to the next program. So our Next program is that we have to take a list of tuples and we have to check that what are the tuples which contains the uppercase letters. So let us read a list of tuples and check or filter the tuples which are containing uppercase letters, right? So we have to take a list of tuples and we have to filter it out the tuples which are uppercase only. So let us take a list of tuples first. So let us take a test underscore list. So which is nothing but a list of tuples ABC, comma, some is a string, then followed by best. This is the first tuple. Then in the second one, AB but C is lowercase in the string. Then average. Okay. Then the third tuple where there is only one string ABC, comma. Then the fourth string is where A is only capital, BC and CS is in capital. So like that we have a list of tuples. Now first of all let us print it. So we'll write down print the original list is test underscore list. Okay. So we have printed here, print the original list here, list of tuples. Then what we will do? Then we will filter it out, the tuples which are only uppercase. So result underscore list is initially empty. Take an empty list. Empty list. After taking the empty list, what is the logic that you have to write? We will write down a for loop for iterating over the list. So for every subject in test underscore list colon result is equal to true. Initially result is a variable which initially contains true. For every element in subject, each subject is nothing but a tuple over here. The outer loop gives you one tuple at a time. So for every element in the tuple, okay, the inner loop is for every element in the tuple. So for every element in the subject, now check whether it is containing uppercase or lowercase. So if it is not the element dot is upper is a built-in method which will return true or false. If it is in uppercase, it will return true, otherwise it will return false. If it is not upper, then make result is equal to false and break it. If it is uppercase, it will return true. So what we will do? If it is true, then we will append it to our result list. So result list dot append the subjects. Okay. Now finally the filtered list what we have in the result underscore list that we are going to display. So we have to write print filtered tuples. How you got the filtered tuples? That is, we'll write down concatenation. We'll make it to string result underscore list. So in this example, we have taken a list of tuples and then we have checked whether the tuples are containing uppercase or not. If it is containing uppercase, we have filtered it out and we have saved into another list called result_list. Now let us save this program and run it. So there is a mismatch in the closing parenthesis. Let us check it out. Okay, so here we forgot to give the opening parenthesis. Now it is matching. So save it and run it again. Yes. So you can see that ABC is best. The first tuple and the last tuple are containing only the uppercases. The others are containing mix of it. So it has simply filtered it out, the tuples which are containing only uppercases. So this is the result of this program. Okay. Now let us move on to the next program. We'll go for the new file. The question is to remove duplicate tuples from list of tuples. Right? Now, what is the input? Let us take the input. Input is a list of tuples. So let us take 1, 2, then 5, 7, then take some values 3, 6, then again 1, 2 is there. That means 1, 2, this tuple is a duplicate one. So you have to remove the duplicate tuples from the list of tuples. Similarly, you can take any example and show that it is containing duplicates. Let us take one more 3, 6 again. Right? Okay. Now let us write down. The simplest method is to use list comprehension. So how to use list comprehension? Otherwise, you can either use list comprehension. So first of all, let us see how to write. Let us write a function remove definition, remove duplicates, and pass a list to that. List is nothing but the list of tuples which contains duplicate elements. Okay. Now, what you need to return? You need to return a list without any duplicates. So here, we will write down the comprehension mechanism directly to remove the duplicate. So for every t in, so how to remove duplicates? We will use the concept of set over here, because set is a data type which never contains any duplicate elements. So let us use, you convert the tuple. So for every tuple of I, okay, every tuple of I, for I in the list, for I in the list. So here it is for every I in the list. That means every tuple in the list. Okay. For every tuple in the list, we are converting that into a set. That means automatically duplicates are eliminated. And that we are keeping it in our resultant list. So this is called the simplest list comprehension mechanism. Now let us write down our driver code. For this, we need to pass a list. So list is equal to, give that same one, 1, 2, then 3, 6, 5, 7, then 1, 2 again, then 3, 6 again. So a list of tuples we are providing over here. And let us call this method. So inside the print statement, print remove duplicates. Remove duplicates. Right? So let us save this program and test it. Run this code. Yes, you can see over here the tuples 1, 2 and 3, 6 was repeated twice, but it is removed in the output. So, for removing the duplicates, the comprehension mechanism is the simplest one. You can try in other logics also. So, for every tuple from the list, we are converting that into a set. So, set automatically removes the duplicates and then we are storing into the final resultant list again. So, this is the program. In this video, we have discussed about what is a tuple, then followed by tuple operations, tuple methods, and then we have discussed a number of problems related to tuples. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.